I'm Becca and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do some clay embroidery with you. It's just some simple techniques, just using either some ready-made bezels. This is one that's got a brooch backing on it, but it can be turned into a pendant as well. Or you can use some filigree as well, so that can be used as a pendant or earrings or whatever. And then I'm going to show you how to make some quick easy bezels for you to do the same techniques. These aren't filled because I just wanted to show you what they look like before you put the filling in. And then as a bonus, I've made this little pair of earrings with some of the leftover that I was using from making this bezel. So watch right to the end and you'll see how I put this pair of earrings together. Yes, I know they've got different coloured earring findings to what they actually are, but when I came to put them together I realised that I've not got any gold earring hooks or eye pins at the moment, so I've just done them in silver. Probably will change them eventually because they're opposite and it'll drive me nuts. Let's get to it and I'll show you how to do it. Right, so to do these clay embroidery pieces, you're going to need some bezels or something to decorate, like some filigree or something like that. You can get ready-made bezels, which are like these, and they've just got like a lip on the side. You can make your own. I'm going to show you that later on in the video, but I'm just going to show you the ones with the pre-made ones first. These are what I got from a place called the Recycle Yard. It's a craft charity shop, I suppose. It's sell all odd things that people are usually just selling off or wanting to get rid of. And I've picked up 3 of these, and I've already done 2. Oops, dropped him. 2 to show you what I've done, and then I thought I'd leave this one for me to actually show you. But it has got a brooch pin on the back. You don't have to use it as that. You can use it as a pendant in a necklace, which might be another tutorial later down the line. So I've got that one to show you, and then I've got these ready-made ones in different shapes. Now they've only got quite a small lip here. You can get them that's deeper, or you can make your own. Like I say, I'm going to show you that later on. You can get them in all different shapes, and then you can get filigree pieces. These are just really soft metal. These are good for if you are just doing brooches, or earrings would be really good, this sort of size of doing them. I've just made them with the intent of either being brooches or pendants for necklaces. This one I used a mould just to make the little teddy bear. That's easy enough to do. It's really simple. If I remember, I'll get my mould out and do it before the end of the video. But I'm just going to show you how to do these ones first. So get everything else out really. So I've got my empty brooch pin, so to speak, and then you just need to decide what colour you want to have on the inside of here. So I've got a gold and a silver, so I'll go with something different for now. What shall we go for? Let's go for a purple because I like purple. Yep. Now this is how I still all make scrappy bits of clay, so it's easier to get them out. But right, so if you've got it rolled out, this is rolled out on number 1 on my pasta machine, and then I just store it in these little sheets. Now to get the shape of what you want, I'm just going to push it down into the clay. You can just get a piece of clay and pour it into a ball and then squish it all out, but this is already rolled out, so that's just how I'm going to do it. So as you can see now, it's got that impression of the area that it's going to go in. So now all I'm going to do is just going to take my blade, try and go around it as neatly as I can. Don't worry if it's not perfect, because we're going to be pouring texture on lace and decorating it and putting it how we want it to be. So don't worry in the slightest if it's not a perfect shape. So I'll put that one back now. In fact, I might No, I'm not going to put my tile on there, and I'm going to do it because it's rather crunchy. I've not cleaned it before I come out. Right, so I'm just going to take our pendant piece. I'm just going to put some liquid clay in here, or translucent clay, whichever you've got. And then you just want to spread it around on the inside, and you want to get right up to the edges of the pendants, because we want it to stick to the metal so it doesn't keep coming out. If it does pop out, you can just use some E6000 or super glue or something just to stick it back into place, but hopefully by the time we've put all the pieces in, it should be well stuck in there. So right, I'm just going to pop this into there and then just push it down. You might get a bit of liquid clay squidging out the side, but that's absolutely fine. Just means that you're getting rid of all those air pockets that are in it, and the clay's, well, the liquid clay is filling the space, sticking the metal to the coloured clay. Okay, so I've got that nice and squished. Technical term, squished. So now what I'm going to use for this one is I was going to use some of my tiny cutters. So these are just some flower ones, and this is the smallest one of it. Right, so I'm taking some different coloured clay. This is what colour I'm going to have my flowers. So I'm just going to pop it on here for now. And then I'm just going to take my smallest cutter. These are really cheap on any of the Chinese websites or eBay, or even if you're going to a cake decorating aisle in your craft shop, they should have them there. Right, where's my tool? Right. So as you can see, I've got this really tiny flower, and I'm just going to mark each of the petals and just give it some more shape and texture. This is what the embroidery part is. It's just like if you saw a sewn piece, it would have all these different textures in it with different stitches even. So you're basically doing exactly the same thing but with clay. So again, I don't know whether if that's gone a bit blurred. If it has, I'm sorry. Okay, so I've got another one. So I'm going to cut a few more of those out. You don't need to watch me do all that, and I'll come back when I've got them all ready. Okay, right, I've got some of my flowers cut out now. And then I'm just going to roughly position them where I want them to go. I'm just going to pick them up with my needle tool so I don't distort them too much. And then I'm just going to put them in a pattern down the centre. There's no particular way on how to do this, it's totally up to you. And you can put them overlapping. Just pop them like this, because we're going to push them down into the clay underneath, so they'll stick to it properly. Quite where I want it. Got another one here. I'll put these last two there. All of them there. Okay, as you can see, I've just done a little arrangement. Actually, put this one over here instead. See, and if you're wanting to adjust it, now's the time to do it before you stick anything further down. Okay, Now it's up to you whether if you want to put coloured centre in, like I've done on these, and I've just rolled out some clay and then cut little circles, or you can use rhinestones. I've got a couple that are already done with these clay. I'll show you how I roll it out in a second, but I'm going to put some rhinestones in these ones, I think. So these are my really teeny tiny ones. So really small. Excuse the noise of the pot. There we go. So best thing to do is you need to put a little bit of liquid clay in the centre of your flowers. I'll try another trick doing it rather than doing it with the brush, because you can actually get too much clay on it, and then it might just make your rhinestones look a bit milky. You don't want that. So I've just popped a little bit of liquid clay on my tile here, not a lot. I'm just going to take my needle tool and just dip it in, and then just pop a little bit in the centre of each of the flowers. Now you can do this for the rolled out clay or the rhinestones. You definitely need to do it for the rhinestones, because obviously they're not a clay that will stick to another clay. It's something that's fully dry, so it needs something else to make it stay there, just like we did for the clay on the base. Any that you're left with on the flower, it dries clear anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But right, so I'm just going to take my stone picker thing, whatever they call it, comes from a diamond art set, and I'm just going to take some rhinestones and then pop them into the centre of the flowers, and then when I push these down, this is going to embed the flowers into the clay at the bottom. You can just see, sorry, I got a bit blurred there, just see them glittering, shining, glittering, whatever you want to call it. You've got these ones out, don't sneeze or cough or anything, because they will go everywhere. So it's up to you how many of these you actually want to put on. Now, if you do get some clay that goes over your flower, just take your needle tool or a piece of tissue and then just wipe it away from the top of the rhinestone, and then it's perfectly fine. Sorry, I think I've zoomed in a little bit too much, and that's why it's gone a bit blurred. I realised I weren't zoomed in when I was first recording, so I think I went a bit too far in then. These rhinestones will stick to you if you're hot, which I am. I'm in my studio and it's very warm, so everything seems to want to stick to me at the moment. Okay, right, there. So I've got all those put in. Then I'll quickly put the lid back on because I don't want them knocking over. Because they're very precious, these, and we don't want to waste any of them. I'm just going to dab at the top, just try and get any excess off. But I don't want to push too hard so that it doesn't distort any of the flowers. Right, now, next piece is to put some little leaves on here, or vines, or whatever you want to put really. Now this part I'm just using my, this is the budget clay that I did a video review on, and I found that this clay is fabulous for doing clay embroidery, but not that very good for doing canes. so this is why I'm using it for this one. For the base I wanted to use Fimo, and then for the main flowers I wanted to use Fimo. You can use this, but when you put it through a pasta machine it does go a little bit squidgy when it's too much, so that's why I wanted to do the flowers. But for the leaves we're alright to do this. So just take a piece of clay. You can use Fimo or any of the other ones, it's totally up to you. So I'm just going to take a little piece of green. Now you don't need a lot for these projects at all. This budget clay conditions very, very quickly. It's very, very soft, and especially with it being warm it's even softer. So I'm just going to back that way, roll it out into a long snake. It doesn't matter if it's not even, because not all leaves are the same size in nature. So that, and then what I'm going to do is just take my tissue blade, just put them up there, and then I'm just going to cut some little slithers that are about the same sort of size. As you can see, when they stick to your blade, when you take your second one you can just line it up against clay, and then you know that you're going to get something that's relatively the same size. So quite a few there. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take one of these little pieces and I'm just going to roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to roll it at one side and turn it into a little teeny tiny teardrop, as you can see. And then I'm just going to take my needle tool and then pop it where I want it to go. So I'm just going to push it into there, and then I'm going to take my needle tool and just push down and give it some definition. Now this is when you can put vines in as well, so you just basically make your snake exactly the same. Might just make it a little bit thinner and then wind it around where you want it to go. Might do that on another one. Okay, so I've got another one. Because we've layered the flowers up, there's little crevices that you can push your clay into and fill out your area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera and finish this piece up, because you don't want to watch me doing that in real time, because that would be very tedious to watch, and I'll come back once I've finished the leaves. Alright, so I've got all my flowers and leaves put in. So as you can see, you can some fill up the area with your petals, or leaves should I say. Now what I'm going to do now is going to show you how I do the outside of it. So again, I'm sticking with the budget clay, so, and then I'm just going to chop a bit off. I'm using cream for this one, but it doesn't take long to condition this one at all. See, this is why it's no good for caning, it's just too soft. But for this, it's perfect. So it's all wonderful. So we're just going to make another snake. Now it needs to be rather thin. I think I've got too much clay there. You could also use a extruder to do this. There's one of these if you've got one, and they have different holes that go in the end of it. This I just find it a bit quicker, because when you put it into the extruder your clay has to be very, 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 very soft, and I haven't tried that with the budget clay yet. Maybe that's something that I need to have a go with, but I know with Fimo I have to condition it very well for it to actually go through with ease. So it probably will go through alright, this one. So now, so I know that one's definitely going to go all the way around. So I'm going to straighten off, oops, come off the camera, sorry, one end, pop it over here so we don't need that one. And then because this is wet clay to wet clay, we don't need to bother adding any liquid clay. If you want to, you can do. And then I'm just going to pop it around the outside of the piece. Okay, and you've got there, use your blade. Didn't quite go through, marked it though. There we go. And then just put those up together. Now don't worry that it's got that mark, because we're going to be putting some texture into it, so it'll look like it's supposed to be there anyway. Okay, so just make sure you've got it on the edge of where you want it, and it's on top of the clay. If you want it round the edge of it, actually touching the rest of the metal, then you will need to add some more liquid clay, but I'm just popping it on top of there. Then I'm just going to take my needle tool and I'm just going to press into it, going all the way around. Oop, see, I didn't have it quite far up, so just push it back on. There we go. Easy fixed. Just wanted to show you don't need to have much skill or experience with clay to play with it. It's a really fun thing to just sit and play around with. Plus it helps with stress. Now that probably sounds really silly, but because if you've got some tension or you're worrying about something, when you're conditioning your clay, it's putting the excess pressure that you're giving out with you being stressed or something, and it does with me anyway, and it helps me calm down because I'm doing something that's not what I'm worried about. It's doing something tedious and then putting my mind to something else, and it helps me get out of what I call a funky mood if I'm in one. Clay is definitely therapeutic in my book. Okay. I haven't pushed down too far now, so you can see I've just done. Looks a bit like a pie crust, and then I'm just going to put a dot with my needle tool in the centre of each of these little sections that I've made. There you go, hopefully that wasn't too tedious with it being sped up. So that's all I've done. I think you can see very well with the light. So I've got my sections, and then in each of them I've just put a little dot, and then I'm just going to put a bit more texture into the back piece and just use it again just to add that extra texture to it. If you look at hand embroidered pieces or sewn versions of it, there's all these different little aspects, and the closer you look at something you'll realise how much work has actually gone into an embroidery piece. Now, as you can see, with clay, you're not putting hours and hours and hours into it. It's more instant gratification with clay. Okay, and then that's all the texture done. So this will just need baking now and glazing, and then this piece is finished. So I'll go and do that and I'll be back in a second. Now another thing that you can do is use little moulds. It's a bit easier with that way. Okay, so again, same process, just press it down into it. And then, can't get it up because it's stuck to the table. There we go. So we're just going to, okay, so we're just going to put the clay into the bezel again. These ones have already got a bail made on them, but you can make your own, which I will show you next. But I'll do these pre-made ones first, so just make sure you get up into every crook and cranny. the bezel just to make sure that it keeps stuck in. Just pop that in. It's like to cut that one a little wonky. Just push it in. Now it doesn't matter if it raises up a little bit, because we're going to be pushing down into it with our other pieces that we're going to decorate it with. But just keep pushing it out, make sure all the air pockets are out, just like we did before. And then you know it's going to be fully stuck. Okay, so I've got that there. So for this little mould, I'm going to use that budget clay. Oh, I'm knocking my... Don't need a bit more. So this is very, very soft clay. If you're using any other brand, you will need to condition it really well for these ones, because as you can see, these are bendy ones. I got these out of the fondant section on, I think it was AliExpress or something like that. They were really, really cheap. And I thought it'd be alright for using with clay. So I ordered some and they work perfect. Just trying to get it warmed up. If it doesn't work the first time, you can just pull it out, roll it up and have another go. So cut it in. And then you've got pieces that are deeper than the other ones, so when you're popping it in, when you're starting off, make it into sort of like little teardroppy sort of shape. And then I'm going to push it into there. I can't do it up in the air or else it will distort the image, but I'm just going to push it down into the mould. Try and make sure that it doesn't lift up too much. And just push it down as best you can. Because if it lifts up out of the mould and then you push it back in, it's going to distort the image. All you'd have to do is just squish it back up and try again. Right, so I think I should be okay with that, and then just peel it out. And then we've got our little teddy bear. And that was so easy. So, and now you just want to cut around. Oh, sorry, I've gone off. I'm just using this because I forgot to find my... Oh, cut his arm, never mind. I forgot to find my knife out. But you can do it with this. And don't worry that you're not getting it absolutely perfect, or you know, like the edges are a bit pointy. We're going to sort those out, we're going to smooth them out. You just need to get the majority of the excess clay away, so you're not fighting against clay that you don't need. There we go. So I'll just get these little bits away. There we go. So we've got a little teddy. And all you need to do now is you can use your finger, or you can use some clay benders, shapers, whatever you want to call them. These were actually out of the nail section on, I think it was AliExpress where I got them from. And I didn't actually use them for my nails, I just used them for my clay. I'm just smoothing it out. So be careful not to distort the actual teddy bear or whatever it is that you're making a mould of. That sounds awful, I'm cutting his leg off. Not a real teddy bear, at least. whenever you're using a pale coloured clay, it picks up every bit of dirt. All the colours of clay that you've been using. Right, okay. So I've got him made, and then I'm just going to pop him, well, just a little bit. Just make sure that you've got it exactly how you want it before you go and stick it on like I just did. Really sorry I keep going off camera, I really keep forgetting that you're not directly in front of me, you're a bit further forward. Right. That's better. Okay, so I'm just going to pop him into my pendant. Going down a little bit. Now it is rather thick, you can see, but I'm alright with it being like that. If you don't want it that thick, then just slice through the shape when you take it out of the mould. I'm just going to push it down using this. Get it exactly how I want it. So I've got that on there, and then if you just want to do any defining, so I'm just going to take my needle tool and just press down on any of the where there's creases in the mould. We are going to give him some eyes and a nose, because he's got to have a nice face. Okay, and with another one of my clay shapers, I'm just going to push down in his ears, because that one's curved. I don't know how well you can see that one, but that one's good for making little faces and doing the inside of ears. And then for his little eyes, I'm just going to make the dots a little bit bigger so I know where I'm going to put my clay when I do it. So I'm just going to, I can just about see where the eyes are on the mould, and then I'm just going to put one there, so I know that's where I'm going to put my nose, and then I'm going to take my curved one again, and I'm just going to give him a little smile. There. Right, so his eyes and his nose. So I'm just going to take the tiniest bit of black clay. Really don't need a lot at all for this. Again, roll in a snake. And just like we did with the leaves, we're just going to, I've got my snake. Oop. I need 3 pieces, 2 for his eyes, 1 for his nose. That's it. And I'm just going to make a little balls, rolling it in my hand. When you're doing this sort of clay embroidery, everything is really, really tiny. It's the finer details that people will notice in your work. You know, that'll make it look like that you've spent hours and hours and hours all together doing it, and we know it doesn't actually take that long. So I'm going to pop one there. That one's a bit larger than the other two. Roll him over. There we go. I've got him in the nose now. These other two are just a tiny bit smaller. Okay, and then take my ball tool again, just push them down till they go into the clay. And then on this teddy bear he's got a line going down his centre, so I think I'm going to add this to this teddy bear. Just makes it look like he's more sewn together properly. There you go. I've noticed he's got his little hands here. Not paws. I should really say he's a teddy bear, he's got paws. Just looking at it, ooh, and not dropping it. Look at it from different angles and just make sure that you've put any detail in that you think that would make it look more intricate. Okay. Don't think there's any more I can. He's got his hair on top of his head. We could always use our needle tool just to press in. Look like he's got some more fur. Okay. Now, it's up to you whether if you want to do this on the outside again. I'm going to leave it because there's not much space left on there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some little rhinestones in now. I've got some little coloured ones, so I'm going to go with those instead of the other ones I use. Right, let's go for these nice green ones. I think they'd look quite nice in it. So I'm just going to take my little bit of liquid clay on my tile again, on the side. Take my needle tool, just dip it in the clay, and then I'm just going to pop one here. And then I think I'm going to put one here where his heart would be. Okay, so we'll get our gem picker-upper. So I'm going to put two of these green ones here, pop them in there. Pop them in all four corners if you wish. It was a little bit higher up, but I'm happy with them going there. Okay, and then I'm going to take a red one to go for where his heart goes. Just pop that in there. So that's a really simple way of doing clay embroidery with very little work actually putting into it. This one is quite a chunkier piece, but that's what you get when you're using these little moulds. So you can, like I said, you can slice them down, but because it's really soft clay, I've just left it as it is, and I quite like it that it's got that added dimension to it, because the necklace that you put it on can have, you know, be not as intricate or anything, come in a nice simple chain that you put through it, or it could just be some ribbon. So you know, the real centerpiece is the actual teddy bear. With this one, obviously because it's quite a larger bezel than what this one was, I did the bear to the side, as you can see, and then with these ones all I did was, instead of the leaves, I rolled out the snakes and I cut long lengths of it off. I put that down first and put it where I wanted it, and then I just took my needle tool and I just pressed it in going all the way up, and then that gave me that dimension as well, and I did 3 of those. And then the tops of the flowers are the exact same as what we've done on the leaves on this one, so it's the same process, but I've just pressed down into it so they look a bit like tulips. And then I took a lighter green and I made some another length of snake, but in a paler colour green, and I rolled it out into just little sort of light sizes of grains of rice, and then I just layered them up for it to look like grass. So I'm going to get this baked and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how you can make your own bezel, so you don't have to go out and buy anything to have a go at doing these, and I'll be back in a moment. Right, so to make your own bezel, if you've not got any of the metal ones that I've shown you already, they're really easy to make, and you can just make them out of polymer clay. Excuse me. There's different ways for you to do them. I'm going to show you how I've done these ones, and this has just got the silver leaf on the back. You can put textures and things on. So I'm going to go through that process with you now. To do it the way that I've done, I've used cutters, but you can do it by just making a template out of paper if you've not got any cutters of the shape that you want. You know, like what you do when you're in school and you want something to be the, you know, symmetrical. You can just do that. I've got cutters, so I'm using them. There's plastic ones and there's metal ones. Now for this method I'm using the straight edge ones because the bumpy ones would probably be a bit more difficult for you to get the edging round, but you may be a bit more clever than me and be able to work it out. The plastic ones don't have a joining piece here, you can just see, and when you cut it out you end up with like a tiny little ridge. Now if that doesn't bother you, you can use the metal cutters or plastic ones, it's up to you. I just want to let you know that that is something that you'll have to take into consideration when you're choosing your cutters to do this. I've not used my plastic ones yet to do this, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to do a heart one, I think, to start off with. Now this is just Fimo gold clay rolled out on a number 3 on my pasta machine. Now to get that effect, what I did was I put some silver leaf on it, and this was ages ago when I did this. Now today it is very hot weather and I've got the fan on, if you can probably hear it in the back, and it's probably going to be a little bit difficult me actually getting the gold leaf onto the clay, so you might be in for a laugh. So let's try and get one that's not been blown or curled already. I'm going to try and slide it out. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because that's not. But we can make it work. We can try and lift it off. This is just composite gold leaf. You can get it in all sorts of different colours. I'm wanting to try the new colours, but I'm wanting to use up my gold and silver, and I've got some copper as well. Woo! I think I better put my gold leaf away. It's a problem when you're filming when you've got a fan on. Put that over here, something on. Stay there, don't go away. So any of these little loose bits you can put somewhere else on your clay. They'll just get picked up when you're doing any more rolling around, you know, with your clay or when you're working. There's nothing wrong with a bit of extra sparkle. Right, trying to find all the bits that have blown off now, so they're not going everywhere. Okay, so I've just got that stuck to the clay, and then I'm just going to pick an area that I want to just cut it out, and then push it on there. As you can see, it's got some crinkles, which is fine, because I quite like having the effect on that. So you just need to smooth around your edges a little bit. Okay. Once you've got it all smoothed out, you've got your piece ready. And oh, try and get the broth on that. So the next part is doing the wall of the pendant. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim away some of this excess gold, because we don't need all of this. It is easier if you get it in one full length to go all the way around, but sometimes you can't get it rolled out to that. Let's go and do it this way. I think I'll do it in 2 halves, and then should be able to get my sides done with that. So just chop it to nice so it's got a nice clean cut. Now depending on how deep you want your bezel is how thick you cut this strip. So I think I'm going to go for about ½ centimetre. So I know this one is my centimetre marking mat, so I'm getting my straight edge lined up to there. I've not got the ½ centimetres marked on, but I can eyeball it. So I'm going to just about there with my blade. Not a bit too far over, I think. I'll cut another one just in case. Gone a bit further over, but never mind. Just remember your work's handmade, it's not manufactured. So it doesn't matter if things are not all perfect and pristine. Okay, just move that out of the way. Okay, so I'll put that on, just zoom in a little bit more now. So this is going to be the back of the bezel. So what I'm going to be doing now is putting this around the outside edge of what we've just cut. Now, if you haven't got your pieces exactly the same, and it bothers you, what you can do is you can put them on top of each other and trim them that way. So I've got them, sorry, I'm going off here now, I keep forgetting that I've got to work further forward. Right, so as you can see I've just popped them on top of each other. Now one's a little bit wider at one side, so I'll try and get it lined up as best as I can. Okay, so put it there. So I just need to trim a little bit off on this side just so that it evens it up a little bit more. There we go. And because we've got the gold leaf on, so I'm going to stick to each other. So the next part is deciding on what you're going to use as your piece at the top for you to be able to hang your pendant from. So this part, which is called your bail. Now on these ones I'm just using some eye pins. You could also make your own if you've got some wire, or you could use jump rings, and you just insert it where I'm going to show you to put it now. Now these ones, it doesn't matter whether if you're going to see, because if you're making them for the pendants that we're doing here, it doesn't matter that you're going to see it because you're going to be filling in the pendant anyway. So that's up to you. So when you use one of these, you can also get these really little tiny eye pins as well, which are alright, but because this is going to be quite a big piece once it's actually finished, I want something that's got a bit of a length so that it will keep adhered to the back of it, because once we've filled it in, that will make sure that it's all in place. Now I've got some gold liquid clay, so instead of using my bacon bond, I'm going to use my liquid clay as the adhesive, because I don't use it all that much. So I think I'll go with the Fimo one, seeing as it's Fimo rolled out clay what I'm using. I'll just give it a shake. And then I just want to put a smidgen on, don't need a lot. And then if you just take your brush, and you'll not see this when it's done. Okay, so that's all sticky. Well, more than it already was anyway. So as you can see, just going around the outside edge. And then I'm just going to take one of my pieces. No, I'm not. I'm going to put my eye pin in first. And then when you're doing your bail, when you string it, you're going to be putting something through it this way. So you need to make sure that the eye pin goes that way into your pendant. So I'm just going to pop it right there. You will be able to move it around a little bit before you bake it, so if it's not exact, don't worry about it just now. This is just a rough spot where it's going to go, because we're going to put our side edges on. So if you cut your strip, just make sure that you've got a nice clean end. And then start just over where you put your eye pin. Oop. help if you've pressed it down enough. Now we're just going to go around the outside edge. Now if you prefer to use the cutter as a mould as such, you could actually do it around that, and then it'd be like the outside edge, and then bake them separate and then pop them together. I just want to do this, save me having to do multiple bakings. There we go, I'll just cut that off with... Sorry, I think I might have gone off then. If I have, I'm really sorry. I'm going to show you again now. So take your other piece, if you've got two like what I have, and then just make a clear edge. And see, I'll just cut the edge there now. I'll zoom out just a little bit because I think that's why I keep going off and not realising it. So I'm going to meet this up in the middle, and then that's when we need to get this, where it's going to go. The other one up to it. Right, so get in there now. So then once you've got them lined up, you just want to take your blade or knife, whatever you're using, and just chop that off there. Now another trick, and I've just realised I forgot to do it, is if you've got a piece of paper and you put your pendant onto that, it makes it easier for turning it around and doing all of this faffing. But it's worth it once it's done, because you'll have a beautiful pendant for you to work with, or bezel should I say, bezel to turn into a pendant. And then you could actually take some of your clay benders or tools, I'm not quite sure what they'd be a proper name, sculpting tools I think they are. Just make sure it's up onto the side of the clay, so if you just do this. If you prefer to go around the outside edge so that you know you're well up to it, you can do. I just like doing it this way. Yeah. So I'm on there now, and then what I like to do with this, if I've got the liquid clay, if you've not got the right liquid clay for what you're doing, or it's just translucent, you can use that, but I like to use my gold or silver, if I'm using gold or silver that is, to go around the inside edge. Now this will fill any gaps in that you might not have seen, and it will just make sure that it is completely secure. And go over the eye pin. So like you can see here now, sorry. I managed to pick it up without dropping it this time. Right, so as you can see now, the liquid clay has gone all the way around here, and down here where the clay meets is filled in. So once it bakes, it will be one solid piece, and then it's just not got my tweezers, but if you look at the eye pin, So you want it to have it so the edge of it is facing upwards, because then when you go through it, you'll be able to string straight through. You can't see very well there, but you'll string that way. So if you can get your pin to go in the right direction, it'll make it easier for stringing when you get round to using your pendant. Okay, so that's that one. Another way is to, you don't have to use the gold leaf for this other one. You don't have to use the gold leaf at all, it's just I like using it. So you can take whatever's left over from this, and then you can use a texture stamp. These are Lisa Pavelka stamps, and these are really nice for using as as backgrounds, because they're really deep impressions. And to use one of these, what we need to do is, where's my water? Just got a bottle with some water in it, and I'm just going to use it as a resist so that it doesn't stick to the stamp. So I'm just going to give it a couple of sprays. Then I want the gold side to be facing on the outside, so I'm going to be doing it round this way. So if you're using the gold leaf, you want it face down, and then you just push the clay into the stamp. You can use your roller out. I just like doing it this way because I feel like I've got a bit more control with the roller. I've tried it and I've ended up pushing the clay and the image just got distorted, and it just didn't turn out very well. So you don't have to do the whole piece, just do enough for you to be able to get your back piece made. Yeah, well, as you can see now, that looks all bumpy and well pushed in, I think. And just take it off, and then you've got that beautiful design for you to have on the back of your pendant. How gorgeous is that? That is lovely. So, which one shall we use for this one? Go for a nice long one. Do you know what? I'm very indecisive. In fact, I might be able to get a pair of earrings out of that as well. Yes. I shall go for the earrings as well. So, I want to cut one out my bezel, and then for earrings, I think I'm going to cut 4 of these, and then I'm going to have that design on the front and back. So, that's an impromptu tutorial that I'm doing while I'm doing this. So I'm just getting. Come out. There we go. So I'll put my earring pieces to the side. And now we're going to do the exact same process of what we've done the other one. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, or I'll speed it up, whichever, because I don't know whether if I got it on the full time, we'll find out in editing whether if you actually caught what I was doing. So I'll crack on with that and put some music on with it, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Right, so that's that one all finished. Smell a little bit now. So I've got it put on like I've done on the other one, and I've just filled in all the little gaps that an air pocket might be in. And as you can see, once this is baked, the eye pin will be in there firmly, because I've used the liquid clay to sort of squidge it apart. I'll just try and make this stay in the middle. There we go. Now, if you're not going to be putting anything in straight away, you could always push this down into the clay, but because I've got the design on the back, I don't want to do that, because I know that once I've baked this, I'm going to be using it for clay embroidery. So you can just do it like that. So you can end up faffing around with this for ages. Now with this one, the strip that I cut managed to go all the way around, so I didn't have to do that joining up, which was a bonus. So I've got that strip to make another one. So I'll go and get these baked, and I'll come back when they're all done. Right, so seeing as I cut these out at the same time as doing the second bezel, I thought I'd show you how to put them together as an earring. Now, they're lovely little pieces, and you won't need to do much to them. But all I'm going to do is take one this way, and take the clay. Just spread it around. And again, take an eye pin. Really ought to have brought my tweezers out for filming, but right, now you want to keep the eye pin same as what we've done, so the hole is going from side to side, so the stringing will go through that bit. Just makes it a little bit easier for when you're putting them together. So, move you back over, because me showing you now what position I went and knocked it. Everything's very sticky because it's so hot. And then I'm going to take my other piece, and I'm just going to lay it on the top. And then just press them together. Not too firmly, because you don't want to distort your lovely texture that you've done from the stamp. If you get the set of these ones, I got them in a set of 2, and you got this other lovely one. To me it looks a bit like bananas. But I'm sure that's not what it's called, it's probably a leaf or something, but I like the swirl. So I've just got that going over there. And just smooth the edges. If you want to put some more gold leaf around the edges, you can do. So I'll do that once I've not got the fan on, because I don't think I'll be able to pick up tiny bits at the moment. So there we go, got that one. And do the same again. And the main bit that you want to make sure that you've got stuck is either side of the eye pin, because that is going to hold it in. Okay, so you could leave it as that, but I think I'm going to put some rhinestones in it, just so we've got a bit of added sparkle, which is always a good thing. So which one shall we go for? Some of these nice eye shape ones. really bad at making decisions. I'm doing that now you can actually see in the box. Good then. All shiny. The rhinestones are very, very fun. So the cocoa with the gold. You're not really going to see it much against that gold already. See if you can see these ones. So one back in there. Ooh, there we go. Not sure. Probably put them at the side of them. See if you got that, you don't have to do these, it's just because I want to add to them. Just trying to think. I'll go with those ones. Don't have to be this shape, you might have other shapes. But I'm going with these because this is the earrings I'm making. So now we just need to put a little blob of glue, not too much. That's where you want them to go. And then put them in place. Lined up. And the good thing that you need to do is when you're doing earrings, you want them to match. So if you can get them lined up next to each other, then you know that you've got them in the right position. Okay, I've got them there. So where's my pencil? I'm just going to take my pencil and just gently push it in. Not too hard, because remember we've got that texture on the back of the earring too. And then now all I'm going to do is make some little balls to go around the outside edge, and that will hold the rhinestone in place. I'll just show it on one of the earrings because you don't need to see me do that for both of them, because that would be very, very straight edge. Now if you're doing this, what I like to do is I just cut my first one and I try to get it to stick to the blade, so then when I go to cut the next one I can line it up and I can get roughly the same amount. I'm gonna cut 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now all I'm going to do now is just make teeny tiny balls of clay. Pick it up, and then not going any further, and then I'm just going to pop it just so it's going over the edge of the rhinestone. Right, so I've got those 4 points there, so top, bottom and either side, and then just with the other 4 I'm just going to put them in between the ones that are already there. Okay, and I got them in position. So you can see I've just got them going around the edge. And where's my this is my poke tool, but I would usually just use my needle tool, but it seems to have gone walkies. So I'm just going to use the end, whoop, and drop it and knock one of the balls. As you can see, I've just pushed it into the rhinestone. And don't worry about the other ones moving. You just put put them back into position as you go around. So once you've got them all done with that, so as you can just see there, you just do that on each of the pieces going round, and then that will hold the rhinestone in place when you bake it. So I'm not going to put you through the painstaking process of doing that because it's very hot and the clay is very sticky, so it may take me a while. So I'll get them baked and I'll come back to you when they're all done and ready. Right, so my pieces are all baked now and they're ready for glazing or whatever you want to do with them. If you've used the gold leaf like I have, you're going to have to give it a coat with something. You can either use Pledge Revive it, or you can use a top coat of a UV nail varnish if you've got that. Any sort of varnish thing, it'll just stop the gold leaf from rubbing off. Ooh. And then it'll make the top bits more shiny. So I'm just going to show you a few pieces my coating. I'm using the top coat nail varnish today, but if you check out my other video of different glazing products that you can use, there's lots of different ones, so don't think that you've got to use just this one. This is mainly just so that the gold leaf doesn't rub off. You can use a UV resin as well, but I've just got this one out for ease because your brush is already in the bottle. So I'm just going to take it out. Now you don't need to glaze over the rhinestone that's in the centre. All you need to do is just go over where the gold leaf is, and it will come down within the cracks, and like the join bits in between the little balls that we put in to keep the rhinestone in place, and you'll need to do both sides. So that one will get in for, dropping it now, go under the UV lamp for 2 minutes. I usually put it under, then I'll do the back, and then and I'll do the same on the other one. With these ones I'm just going to be going over the entire thing. These ones I'm just going to be coating the back and the sides. Sorry, I went off the camera then. Just to stop the gold leaf coming off. You don't need to coat this side because this will be getting filled with whatever you're going to put inside of your pendant. So I'm just keeping these ready for when I wanted to make something else. I'm just showing you how you can make your own bezel for you to do the project. So these again are just going to get a quick coat of this top coat, and then once they're dry I can put them in storage for when I want to use them. So it's same again for this, depending on how high you want your gloss to be as to how many coats you put. But like I said, this is just probably the quickest because your brush is already in the pot of the nail varnish, so you don't have to worry about getting any other brush or anything ready. So if you're just doing a few pieces, then this is nice and quick. But say if you're doing a really big piece or you're doing quite a lot, then it would be more beneficial using like a tub of UV gel rather than this, because obviously these bottles not very big, not last you very long. So, but the UV resin you can get on any of the websites really. I got mine on AliExpress, and I've tried the different size bottles. And if you go for the large bottles, I think they've got 500ml in if I remember right. They come in this really big bottle, and it's only about half full. That's it. So that's just that, and you'll see it'll be nice and shiny. So I'm going to go off camera and finish the other ones, because you don't need to watch me doing that because that'll be very tedious to watch, and I'll come back once they're all set and glazed. So I've got all my pieces glazed now, didn't take long at all, and the nail varnish that I used is no wipe as well, so you don't get any of that tackiness that you get after some UV resins that you can use, and it's really good. I only had to put them in for 2 minutes each, and that was it. It was a lot easier than some of the other resins that I've used, and it just seals in all that lovely gold leaf. Or like say if you've got these little pieces where I've just put little dots of clay in instead of rhinestones, it'll keep those stuck in place, and it just gives them a nice sheen to them, just that added extra little bit. So now I'm going to get things out to make this pair of earrings with you, and I'll be back in a second. Right, so let's put this little pair of earrings together. I've not got any more gold earring hooks or eye pins, unfortunately, so they're going to have silver ones, but they're only for me for wearing, so I'm not too bothered. I don't think anybody's going to be looking that close. It's a different metal that I'm using, but if I were giving for a gift, then I would definitely make sure that they've got the same ones. So all I've got is my 2 earrings that we've made. I've got some crystals, earring hooks, eye pins, jump rings and some bead caps. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take our first eye pin, and then I'm going to pop our bead cap with the open part facing upwards. Oh, sorry, not going on there. As you can see, the dome bit goes to the bottom. You can just see there, so it goes like that way. And our crystal, another bead cap. Oh, that went down the wrong part. Silly me. And then the other one goes face down. You can see. So it sort of just finishes it off. You don't have to have those on, this is just what I'm wanting to put on. And then I'm just going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend it away and then towards me. I can get my piece round. Because it's quite a short piece, and I'm sorry about the noise that's going off. My neighbours have decided to start doing DIY while I'm filming, but I can't stop filming. So I apologise if it's really noisy in the back. I keep thinking they've finished and then they start doing another bit. I'm just going to put this around. It might be better if I actually held it with my these ones that are not rounded on the other end. And you're just wrapping it around. Sorry, I don't know whether if that's making it go blurred. I'm trying to look at the camera and I'm trying to do it at the same time, and it's a little difficult. Oh, the noise has gone. Okay. Cool. So we've got our 2 hooks at either end. We just need to snip off the little bits if I can get to it. I'll have to get my snips before I'm because I thought I would have got them with that one, but no, I just can't quite get it in. I'll go and fetch my ones. I'll be back in a second. Right, I've got my normal snips now. I'm just going to take that little bit of metal off that we don't need. It decides that it wants to come off. There we go. I've got that one. So we just need to do that again for the other one. So I'll put this on fast speed for you because you don't need to see me doing it in real time again, because that'd just get really boring. So I'll speed this bit up for you, but at least you can see again what a process is. Two pieces made, so now all we need to do is just connect all the pieces together. So we want to take one jump ring, and then I want to just open it up. They're really soft, these, so they're easy to manipulate. And then we want to put our earring finding on. Sorry, the neighbours are going off again. There we go. And just close it back up. So we've got that there, and then we're just going to take our other jump ring and connect it to the main part. Now, if you remember me saying it matters which way that you have the eye pin, and I keep dropping the jump ring, and I've done it again. Right, oh, I'm not letting it go. Because we got the eye going that way, I'm going to pop it on. It will hang correctly so that it faces forward. Oop. That is if you don't keep dropping it. And then we just want to take our, you can have a good giggle at me. Just take the bottom of the other piece, so opposite end where the earring hook is, and then slip that on, and then push the jump ring back together. Just make sure that the gap has been closed up altogether. There, you've got a lovely earring. Now the jump rings that I've used are quite large, so it's got quite a long dangle on it. So, but you can use smaller jump rings if you wish. This is just how I've done it. If you were just using wire, you wouldn't need the jump ring part. You could just wrap it straight round onto the earring piece. But I've not got any wire with me at the moment, so that's why I've had to use the jump rings. So that would be just how it would be if you did use the jump rings. Like I said, they are rather large jump rings. I ought to have got some smaller ones, but I may change them. I might wait and get some golden ones, but that's how you put them together. So I'll do the other one off camera because you don't want to see me doing that all over again, and I'll be back in a minute. Right, so I've got them both finished. I've changed out the size jump rings that I was using because I really wasn't happy with the sizings that I got. I'm much happy with them now. I really wish I had got the gold earrings hooks for me to put on, but until I get some I can't do anything about it. But they're beautiful as they are anyway. Or I think they're a nice, quick and easy pair of earrings for you to make with just out of some leftover pieces of the project. Anyway, you know, you don't want to throw away any of your clay, so I'll bring back in the other pieces and zoom out. There we go. And now we've got an aeroplane going over the top. It's very noisy today. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it's inspired you to have a go at clay embroidery and make your own bezels as well. So if you've got any questions, if you want to put them in the comments, I'll be happy to answer them. If you've liked the video, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be appreciated. And if you've not subscribed, if you would consider subscribing, that would be appreciated too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.